Die, 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 die. This is such a good fight. Oh. Oh. I won. Did I win?
You have taught me something, Abaddon. Sometimes duty.
We got the platinum before we got the other 3 gold trophies. Hey. I think that's ever happened.
Duty that I killed.
And that's crazy. We got the platinum before we got the other trophies. Hey, we got the platinum.
All debts are repaid. The duty I uphold, it may call me to raise my sword against you. And if that day comes, I won't hesitate. You will be hunted. The White City for certain. The Council, and there will be others. You would wage this war alone?
No. Not alone.
Oh, shit. We're getting the band back together, boys. Is that the final scene? Is that the final thing you see? Is the other horseman coming in to... Okay, when's it gonna pop? This is so weird, because the platinum popped, but the other 3 gold trophies haven't popped yet. Okay. I'm gonna try to resist the urge to look at the trophies right now and see if I already had the gold trophies and it just like didn't pop them. Yeah, it was supposed to pop 5 trophies at once: defeating the final boss, beating it on easy, beating it on normal, and beating it on hard, and the platinum. So it was supposed to pop all 5 of them at once. Maybe there was some glitch. That'd be kind of fucking weird if I got the platinum trophy but I didn't get the other trophies. That's never happened before, possibly in the history of ever. No, hell no. We're gonna watch the credits. Thank you, Alekin. Sumo will be pissed, but he can watch the YouTube video. All right, we gotta talk about this. Okay, I did something that I haven't done for a very long time, for one of these games, or one of these platinum trophies, and I actually made notes for myself, and they're pretty extensive. Well, more extensive than normal. Usually it's like 5 or 6 words. There's things I want to mention that I want to make sure I don't forget. But here I almost wrote out an entire like essay format. Okay. First thing, awesome game. Amazing game. I would put it in my amazing tier, which is already kind of honestly a bit crowded. I think like a fourth of every game I played I would put in the amazing tier. Which is my top tier. It's great fun. It's a bit of a challenge, maybe, I guess, I don't know. And an overall, it's a great experience. It's an awesome game, but what makes an awesome platinum? Here's what makes an awesome platinum. By the time you get the platinum trophy, you've seen pretty much everything this game has to offer. You have to beat it on the hardest difficulty, which is, you know, the hardest difficulty. And the hardest difficulty is... not too difficult, really. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was approaching things the wrong way. I died about 40 times. I mean, it's an action game. When I played God of War 2 on the hardest difficulty, I died like 135 times. You know, but who's counting, right? Luckily, this game keeps tracks of kills, so I knew. Yeah, I died 40 times. I didn't die to the final boss once, so... yeah, it's a good game. It's an awesome game. But anyway, going back. The platinum makes you see the entire game. You have to get all the health pickups, all of the wrath pickups, which is your mana meter. You have to find all the collectibles, which the collectibles give you souls, which are used to buy upgrades and stuff like that. So there is a practical point to getting collectibles outside of getting a trophy. Not many games do that. Very few games do that. They're just like, get the collectibles. Like, the worst is probably Uncharted, where you just get the collectible and it's like a model of like a coin or something, and that's it. It doesn't give you any lore, it doesn't give you any kind of in-game currency, it doesn't give you anything except a trophy. Congratulations. But this game doesn't do that. It does give you something of value within the game for getting all the collectibles. Definitely a point in its favor. If you've been watching the stream for a while, I've been constantly comparing this thing to Zelda. Yeah, it's basically Twilight Princess. It's basically Twilight Princess from the bottom to the top, from the side to side. It's Twilight Princess. Even the final boss, you fight the final boss first in a beast form, and then you fight a humanoid boss in like a one-on-one swordsman duel. That's literally how Twilight Princess ends. Exactly how it ends. You fight possessed Zelda, you fight Ganon, and then you fight Ganondorf. Exactly how Twilight Princess ended. And Twilight Princess came out about 4 years before this game, so I'm willing to bet Twilight Princess influenced the structure and feel and tone of this game a lot. It's structured a lot like a Zelda game, but Zelda games are awesome, and this game is pretty awesome too. That's one of my little notes. It honestly, I think it has more teeth than a Zelda game, especially on the hardest difficulty. I played through this game the first time on normal, but I played through 4 years ago and I never beat it. I guess I just got bored with it. Maybe it was too easy. I don't know. But this time I played through on the hardest difficulty, and there are parts where it was pretty challenging. There were parts where I really had to kind of like think about what I was doing. Black Throne especially. Black Throne is probably the hardest part of the game. It's the true final dungeon. This game is structured weird. In the very beginning, you have this like very linear prologue that's honestly kind of boring, much like a 3D Zelda game. And at the end of the game, you have this kind of, not really an epilogue, but like once you beat the Black Throne, it's very linear all the way up until the end of the game. There is kind of a victory lap you can do, a la finding the pieces of the Triforce or getting the light suit in Metroid Prime 2, where you kind of go back through the world and collect up the hidden parts of this like super special awesome sword that's going to fix everyone's problems, right? And now that you have all of your abilities, you can like explore and like get hidden items and get, you know, the last couple of health and mana and like artifacts, right? But yeah, there's more teeth than a Zelda difficulty, or there's more teeth than a Zelda game, especially on the hardest difficulties. Enemies swarm you, and War is not very agile. He kind of moves like a brick. So sometimes the best defense is a good offense. You're granted a lot of ways to deal with enemies, both like one-on-one strong guys and like dealing with like crowd control. Oh, is that all the credits? Yeah, like I said, the combat is serviceable. I mean, it's no like, you know, God of War or Bayonetta or anything like that, but it's serviceable. It probably has about as much depth as Twilight Princess did, which didn't really have that much depth at all. Even though it really wanted you to think it had a lot of depth, it really didn't. It's because too many pops at the same time. I don't know about the PS5, but the PS3, they would rack them and stack them. I remember playing Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, and the way trophies work in that game, I intentionally tried to pop, I think it was 7 trophies at once, and I beat the stage. I didn't get an S rank at it, so I ended up seeing 6 trophies just go ding, 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 ding. That would have been cool, though, seeing 5 trophies pop at once. The Black Throne, the final dungeon, is a marathon level, if ever there was one. Jesus, I think it took me like 4 hours to get through. And the puzzles are pretty complex, or I'm just a moron. That also might be a possibility. I haven't played a classic style Zelda, and by classic style I mean like pre-Breath of the Wild. I haven't played that kind of style of Zelda in a long time. But Blackthorn is up there with some of the best dungeons. Mostly the Majora's Mask dungeons. I kept comparing it to Stone Tower Temple. Stone Tower Temple as I think the most complicated and intricate dungeon the Zelda franchise ever produced. The dungeon with the most teeth on it, I think. Let's talk about the story. What the fuck happened? I don't know. If you asked me to explain what happened exactly, I'd be like, some shit happened and everything's better now. And I guess the other 3 horsemen are coming in because the 7th seal got destroyed and they're about to wreck shit. Whatever. Oh yeah, and humanity was completely wiped out, and they don't really fix that by the end of the game. Just humanity's gone, and like no one cares, I guess. It's a cheesy story, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. There's not a lot of humor, but the voice direction and the script, like, it's hard to take it seriously. The characters, most of them have exactly one note, with the possible exception of the villain. Abaddon actually has some range. Like, he has more than one emotion that he portrays or conveys throughout the entire game. Uriel probably has more than one emotion, although I can't remember what the other one was other than just like vague disgust. And War has exactly one emotion. The player character has exactly one emotion throughout the entire game. It's barely contained to rage and annoyance. Okay, I guess that's two emotions. But it's funny because like every they keep that emotion consistent throughout the entire game, and it's like, oh my god, it's really hard for there to be like twists and turns in a game where the main character just has one emotion that he hits every single time. It's actually kind of funny. I mean, if you're looking for a satisfying story, if you're looking for like an intricate labyrinthine plot, I mean, it's there, but it's just cheesy as all hell, which is fine. It's almost like Doom. Like Doom has a story. You know, demons are good, or no, demons are bad. You're good. I fucked up the plot of Doom, and like that's all you need, right? This is one of those games where it's like, bro, do you really need a story? Just go in there and kill demons. Be alright. Be good. In and out, 5 minutes. If you're trying to follow the story, for me at least, it was pretty confusing up until the final part where they just like explain everything. There's not so much a story in this game as there is just exposition cutscenes. So much of the cosmology of the universe is just like glossed over. Like at the very beginning, you get about 2 minutes that explains how like cosmology works in this universe, you know, because they say heaven and hell, but it's not really heaven and hell, you know, and because they don't want to say God and Satan, because they probably get banned in some countries, they just say the creator and the destroyer, you know. But the destroyer in this game is actually a fallen angel, so I guess it mirrors the story of Lucifer from Paradise Lost, which is supposed to be Satan, but in Paradise Lost, Satan and Lucifer are two different people. It's kind of confusing. They just kind of gloss over it all because like I think the story is not like the main draw. Like, the story's there. You gotta have some kind of story, but it's not why you would play a game like this. Definitely not. It's not Life is Strange or The Last of Us, which has nothing else besides the story, or so I hear. I think the game could be improved with lore pickups or audio logs that give backstory on the setting. Because as it is right now, the only time you learn anything in terms of like context, like the background of the setting or like story, the only time you ever learn anything is from very brief cutscenes that are kept brief for a reason, and like that's it. Still a better story than God of War Ragnarok. I'll take your word for it. I mean, at the very least, the story doesn't get in the way. Like, I don't think there's any cutscene in the game that lasts longer than 2 or 3 minutes. You know. I will 100% take a very thin story that may or may not make sense over an overblown, overwrought, melodramatic story that just never goes away. Christ. But yeah, I think if there's any improvement that can be made, if they really cared about the story, I don't know if they did. Maybe they did, I don't know. But they should have had like lore pickups and audio logs to kind of flesh out the background, because a lot of times there'll be these little reveals and stuff, and it'll be like, what's so important about that? It's because I just don't understand how the cosmology of this universe works. You know, I'm just playing the game and taking what I see as face value. I'm not doing like any kind of like research on it. I'm not like watching videos like Darksiders explained or anything like that. I just don't get it. Like the Charred Council, for example, the Charred Council is brought up a lot as these like figures of authority in like, you know, the metaverse. I don't know, but when you see them, they're just rock formations that are somehow able to speak, but they don't move. And it's like, who gives a fuck about these things? You can smash them up easily, you know. But like, they have allegiances from like other entities, you know. Like, the Charred Council is basically like a dictator, and the armies of heaven and hell are like the armies. Like in a third world country, when you have a dictator, that dictator better have the army on his side, you know? Because if he doesn't, he's just, I mean, no one's gonna listen to this guy, right? Like, the Charred Council by themselves don't really seem to have any kind of authority or power. Like, from me watching the game, maybe they do. I don't know. A lot of stuff is unexplained. And that's fine, because the game doesn't think its story is that important either. But I guess if you were interested in it and were trying to figure out what the fuck was going on, Yeah, you might have to play through the game a second time, or if you're like me, just go to YouTube and there's probably a 5-minute video explains everything that happened. Also very dumb. Or you just put logs, like audio logs, or maybe the artifacts you're picking up could actually have some kind of like lore. It could have some kind of background, you know, that explain like how the universe works, or how these agreements came to be made, or why the 7 seals are a thing, you know? I don't know. If it's a 14-year-old game, I don't think anyone's going to be watching the stream and be like, shit, we should have done that. I highly recommend it. I might get it again on PlayStation 3, although it really looks like shit on PlayStation 3. I'm going to be honest with you. On PS4, it's 60 FPS and 1080, and I'm pretty sure on PS3, it's like 30 FPS and 720 at best. Maybe 560. Ew. Or 520? I don't know. Anyway, go play it. It's really good. Alright, that's it. Stop recording.